Welcome to our latest video, brought to you by Motorize, the #1 source for new and used parts. Today we're taking a close look at the Suzuki DR350, a no-frills dual-sport classic, model years 1990-1999, that blends everyday riding and off-road detours with surprising ease. At its heart, a 349C air-cooled SOHC single, a 6-speed gearbox, a Mikuni BST-33 carb, and 21 18-inch wheels. Around 130 kilograms dry. We'll show who it suits, what to watch for when buying, and which upgrades are worth doing. One quick heads up, with only about a 9-liter tank, the DR is more of a nimble lightweight than a long-distance pack mule. Smart mods include firmer fork springs, a TM33 pumper carb, and an optional 16-liter Acerbis tank. Visors down, let's dive into the tech, history, strengths, weaknesses, and our recommendation. In 1990, Suzuki launched the DR350 to bridge the gap between street riding and true enduro. From day one, there were two flavors, the street-legal DR350S and a lighter dirt-only version stripped of road gear. The S, and later the SE, typically ran a Mikuni BST-33 CV carb, while the off-road model breathed through the snappier TM33SS pumper. In 1994 came the DR350 SE with an electric starter, a real quality-of-life upgrade, especially when you stall on a climb. The recipe stayed intentionally classic. An air-cooled 349cc 4-valve single, bore stroke 79.0, 71.2 millimeters, dry sump lubrication with the oil in the frame, a 6-speed gearbox, a 43 millimeter telescopic fork, and a fully adjustable rear shock. Production ended in 1999. From 2000, the DRZ400 took over, more modern but less purist. Key specs of the Suzuki DR350 1999, an air-cooled 349cc 4-stroke single with a 4-valve SOHC head, about 9.51 compression, and a 6-speed gearbox. Depending on the version, it makes roughly 27 to 33 horsepower and about 29 newton-meters. S and SE models run a Mikuni BST-33 CV carb. The dirt model uses a TM33 pumper. From 1994, the SE gained electric start. Most S and dirt bikes are kickstart. It uses a steel double cradle frame with 21 18-inch wheels, 90-90-21, 110-100 to 18, and a ready-to-ride weight around 130 to 140 kilograms. Front disc brake, rear is drum or disc depending on year. Up front is a 43 millimeter telescopic fork with about 280 millimeters of travel front and rear, plus a fully adjustable shock. Tank is around 9 liters, seat height 885-890 millimeters, wheelbase about 440 millimeters, and ground clearance roughly 300 millimeters. In practice, maintenance is straightforward. Oil changes take just over 2.0 liters including the filter, valve clearance is an easy screw and lock nut job, ignition is CDI. Design and ergonomics. Clean, functional, and lean. The DR350 skips the frills and leaves room to move. A slim 9-liter, 2.4-gal tank and compact midsection make it easy to shift around while standing. The long, near-flat seat supports quick weight transfers. A wide enduro handlebar gives you leverage, and the 21 18-inch wheels deliver precision off-road. The cockpit stays minimal with an analog speedo and indicator lights. Out back sits a small tool pouch, quintessential 90s. Important, on the DR350 SE, the electric starter typically replaces the kickstarter. Kick-only models remain fully mechanical. The SE's Mikuni BST-33 CV carb provides smooth, easily metered throttle response. Generous ground clearance, a stout steel double cradle frame, and grippy pegs round out the package. Shorter riders benefit from a modest linkage-based lowering option, handling and everyday usability. In day-to-day riding, the DR350 shows its easygoing character. The air-cooled single pulls smoothly and tractably, and the 6-speed takes city streets, country roads, and dirt lanes in stride. With the stock 1544 gearing on the S, it pulls away eagerly. At 90 to 100 km per hour, it cruises with minimal vibration. The 21-inch front, 18-inch rear wheels, and the firm but compliant suspension iron out gravel and ripples while staying nimble in tight streets. The Mikuni BST-33 CV carb delivers clean throttle response and low fuel use at about 4 to 5 li 100 kilometers. Despite the 9-liter tank, 180 to 220 kilometers per fill is realistic. Electric Start EU on the SE from 96 makes stop-and-go easy. Kickstart models ask for technique, choke, find top dead center, then a decisive kick. Screw and lock nut valve adjustment, an easy access air filter, and straightforward oil changes keep maintenance simple. Strengths and highlights. Versatility is its hallmark. Light, tough, and honest. The 349cc single delivers usable torque from down low, and the wide ratio 6-speed keeps revs relaxed on longer stretches. At around 130 kilograms dry, with 21 18-inch wheels and long travel suspension, it stays composed, even when the trail gets tricky. The SE's electric start takes the intimidation out of the equation. The dirt models score with a Mikuni TM33SS pumper for crisp throttle response, while the SSE run a Mikuni BST33CV. Tinkerers appreciate the screw and lock nut valve adjustment and the easily removable foam air filter under the side panel. The steel double cradle frame shrugs off tipovers. From 1998 onward, a rear disc brings noticeably sharper braking. In short, an honest dual sport that can do more than the spec sheet suggests. Weaknesses and typical issues. Known trouble spots. On the SE's BST33CV, the emulsion tube wears oval. Result, rich mixture and a lumpy idle. A fresh needle jet needle kit helps. SE stock jetting is usually main 127-32.5, pilot 37.5. TM33 pumper. The accelerator pump diaphragm often cracks, so the pump doesn't work cleanly. The O-ring mod sharpens throttle response. The SE stator only puts out about 180 wabi. Switching to LED lighting and a MOSFET reg-rec eases the load. Countershaft splines take a beating. A 13T sprocket accelerates wear, while 1415T plus a solid retainer plate is kinder. Linkage and swing arm bearings, no grease nipples, love to seize. Tear down and grease them regularly. Side stand switches corrode. In a pinch, bypass at the connector. Kickstart models hot start poorly if the decompression cable snaps. Check valve clearances cold. Intake 0.08, exhaust 0.3 to 0.18 millimeters. Inspect the intake boot and O-rings for cracks. Accessories and customization. The DR350 is a tinkerer's playground. A Service or Clark tank's bump capacity to about 15 to 16 liters. Handguards, a skid plate, and stout rear racks are true plug-and-play. SSE models come stock with a Mikuni BST33CV carb. If you want snappier throttle response, swap to the Mikuni TM33 pumper, as on the dirt models. If range matters, a well-jetted BST33 wins. Suspension. Stiffer fork springs, Racetech Gold valves for the 43mm damper rod fork, and a refreshed stock shock sharpened control. Final drive, 520 chain, 1447 for steep terrain, 1541 for everyday use. SSE also get a cush drive hub, ergonomics, wide pegs, taller bar risers, and a refoamed taller seat. Brakes, braided stainless lines plus EBC's 280mm rotor kit. Lighter FMF or DEP exhaust shed weight, street legal only with a DB insert and E-mark. Want more punch? A 385cc big bore 83 with a Nickel cylinder is rock solid when properly tuned. Market value and buying checklist. Well-kept DR350s usually go for $1,800 to $3,500. Late SE models with electric start, EU from 1996, fetch a premium. On the test ride, steady idle, pulls away cleanly, a precise shifting gearbox, no chain slap. Check the car BST33 diaphragm, TM33 accelerator pump, and inspect the intake boots for cracks. Any play in the linkage or swing arm bearings hints at hard off-road use. Feel the steering head bearings for notches. Inspect frame rails, foot peg mounts, spokes and rims for dents or rust, fork tubes for pitting. Rear brake, drum up to 95, disc from 96. Know the model, it's a dry sump motor. Check oil level only when warm at the frame tank. Valve clearance is cold, intake 0.08, 0.13 millimeter, exhaust 0.13 to 0.18 millimeters. SE models have an automatic decompressor. Kickstart versions use a manual lever. Paperwork. Many are registered at 20 kilowatts. Make sure jetting and exhaust are correct. Nice extras, 2 keys, the toolkit, and service records. Bottom line and buying advice. The Suzuki DR350 is a rare blend of lightweight, honesty, and everyday usefulness. A 349cc single 6-speed box and generous ground clearance, equally at home on the commute or a forest trail. If comfort's your thing, pick the SE with electric start, EU from 1996. Purists will go for the Kickstart S or the Dirt version. Bonus points, screw and lock nut valve adjusters, and a Mikuni carb that tunes cleanly. BST33 on the SSE, TM33 pumper on the Dirt. What to look for? Fresh suspension service, steering head and linkage, a dry countershaft area at the front sprocket, and a tight, play-free swing arm pivot. Add handguards, a skid plate, the 9-liter 2.4 gal tank, and a suspension tweak. Dial in the 43mm fork, and it becomes a long-term companion. Verdict? If condition and price line up, go for it. Light, easy to work on, and surprisingly capable.